If you thought that everyone over at Blizzard agrees with the policies that they enforce, then boy oh howdy, you are in for a surprise. And as much as it is easy for us to assume that not everyone will be on the same page in a company as big as theirs, having definitive proof of that being the case is a bit of a different story. Now, this is not the first case of Blizzard employees disagreeing with each other. A lot of people who had to deal with customer support on a regular could probably attest to that. But the case I want to highlight today is that of the former social media manager for Overwatch who, after leaving the company, made his opinion on Blizzard's one-trick policy public. And I quote, "Anyone who does not work as a team when picking heroes deserves to be reported. Don't one-trick anything. It's selfish and a shitty thing to do to others." Now, why do I bring this up specifically, besides the fact that I had no idea what else to talk about for today's upload? I just find it interesting to highlight some of the decisions that Blizzard is seemingly forced to make in light of the fact that they are a big company. Not every decision they make is to support a healthy gameplay environment, but sometimes it's more about maintaining a good standing in the public eye. A lot of dedicated competitive players will likely agree with the notion that supporting or otherwise promoting selfish play in a video game that is as inherently reliant on team play as Overwatch is a terrible idea. You cannot tell players that doing whatever they please is fine in a game where the decision of a single player can fundamentally ruin the experience for literally everyone else. Well, I mean, you can, but it really is not a great idea if maintaining a remotely competitive environment matters to you. So why would they put the selfish desire of few over the competitive integrity of their game as a whole, specifically in a world where they are pushing Overwatch as an esport as much as they do? Well, it is no secret that the casual crowd is much bigger and also much more profitable than the hardcore competitive crowd. There's simply more money to be made by appealing to the mainstream audience over trying to create an inherently competitive experience, which is fine and all, but it kinda starts falling apart in light of the fact that we are talking about a competitive game mode. Alienating casual players is exactly what you want to do in order to further their competition in a game mode that was made specifically for that very reason. The fact that hero balance patches are published with a lot of consideration for the hardcore competitive crowd as well as for the casual crowd makes a heck of a lot of sense. As dedicated as ranked players might be, they are the minority, so we simply have to accept that hero balance will always try to keep both sides of the coin in mind. But what is the point of creating separate environments to accommodate for two entirely different playstyle philosophies if you still try to cater to a group whom you did not even make that game mode for? This is where things get a little nonsensical, and your employees are obviously going to catch on that as well. Now, before anyone starts yelling about how Blizzard does not allow their employees to have their own opinion, you have to consider that they are not merely representing themselves as individuals. Showing consistency in your company's philosophies is very important. If you have Blizzard employees joining the riot against one-tricking, then what are the players supposed to believe to be right? If Blizzard collectively says that one-tricking is fine, then that is going to be the definitive truth that players can address as such. I'm not going to get into the argument of the community makes the rules again, because obviously Blizzard seems to disagree. It's 2018 and publishers have decided to take all control away from the players. The only thing we can do at this point is vote with our wallets, and Blizzard is no exception in that regard. But fact is that there needs to be an anchor point of sort that players can refer to in times of dispute. As much as it is my belief that developers should accommodate to the preferences of their player base, whether I agree with their decision or not, there needs to be something that we can all call fact. I mean, sure, you could argue that even with that outspoken fact in place, players are still going to disagree with each other as we are right now in our one-trick debate, but I am convinced that these kinds of disputes would be even worse if Blizzard themselves did not make a stance for what they believe to be right. So the fact that their former social media manager kept that opinion to himself does not have anything to do with them not allowing their employees to have their own opinion. It's just about keeping a consistent image in the public eye, which in turn helps guide players in possible disputes that they might have. All I can relate this to is my former job in event management, where I had to keep making bullshit excuses for all the things that our executives thought were a good idea. It was only common sense to me to not rant about these things together with the customers, even when I did not agree with their decisions. And that's really all I have to say about this. It's interesting to see that there's likely some level of dispute internally regarding this, and possibly even other policies, which, if you think about it, makes a heck of a lot of sense. But having confirmation does put it in a bit of a different perspective. Of course, we're not talking about a game developer or designer here, so you can put as much weight into it as you like. But fact is that we are likely never going to find out if there is more conflict beyond that, outside of sources that confirm it once they leave the company. It does give me a bit of hope that maybe they are going to rethink some of their decisions in the future, but for now, all this really actually ends up being is kind of an interesting bit of information. So I guess I'm gonna call it a day here. As always guys, feel free to leave all of your thoughts and opinions on the subject in question down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, then by all means let me know by dropping me a like on your way out. Subscribe if you wanna see more, and I hope to see you all next time.